Ya Asantewa was born in 1840 in Besiasi, a small village in Gold Coast, what is now Ghana. She rose to legendary status as the Queen Mother of the Ashanti Kingdom and became one of the most iconic African women in history. The Ashanti Kingdom was known for its powerful military and rich cultural heritage, and Ya Asantewa played an integral role in the history of the kingdom, leading it with unparalleled strength and courage during a pivotal moment of its existence. Ya Asantewa's early life was marked by personal tragedy. The Ashanti Kingdom, founded in the late 17th century, was a powerful and expanding empire in West Africa, renowned for its well-structured governance, arts, and military prowess. Growing up in this environment, Ya Asantewa was exposed to both the beauty of Ashanti culture and the harsh realities of war and conflict. She was born into a royal family as her father was a chief, and from an early age, she exhibited qualities of wisdom, bravery, and resilience. As she matured, Ya Asantewa married, and her life took a different turn when she became the Queen Mother, or Nana Ya Asantewa, of the Ashanti people. Her reign as the Queen Mother was not without difficulty, as she navigated the complexities of politics, diplomacy, and leadership in an era that was undergoing tremendous change. The Ashanti Kingdom was facing increasing challenges from British colonial forces. The British Empire, which had long been interested in the wealth of the Ashanti Empire, sought to exert more control over the region. With their eyes set on the Ashanti's gold and resources, the British initiated a series of wars in the late 19th century, seeking to conquer and annex the kingdom. It was during this period of instability that Ya Asantewa's leadership would shine. The British were preparing to take the Golden Stool, a sacred symbol of the Ashanti people, and with it, the heart of their culture and sovereignty. It was during this time that she would rise to become the beacon of hope for her people. In 1900, the British governor, Sir Frederick Hodgson, demanded that the Ashanti people hand over the Golden Stool. To the Ashanti, this stool was more than just a piece of furniture. It was a sacred artifact that represented the unity, strength, and spiritual guidance of the Ashanti Kingdom. It was the symbol of their king's authority, and no Ashanti leader could sit on the throne without first having the Golden Stool present. Hodgson's demand was an affront to the Ashanti people, and he underestimated the resolve of their leaders, particularly Ya Asantewa. Despite her age, she was not only determined to preserve the stool, but also recognized the importance of protecting the Ashanti people's autonomy and dignity. Ya Asantewa understood that this was not just a matter of retaining a cultural artifact, but a struggle for the very soul of the Ashanti people. As the British forces moved toward the Ashanti capital, Kumasi, Ya Asantewa became the rallying point for the defense of her kingdom. She called upon the Ashanti people, both men and women, to unite and defend their land. Her speech before the War Council is legendary, as she urged the warriors of the Ashanti to not let their ancestors' spirits be dishonored. She famously declared, "If you, the men of Ashanti, are afraid to fight, then let us women fight. We will not let the British take our stool." Ya Asantewa was not just a symbol of defiance. She was a leader in the truest sense. She took charge of the military strategy, gathering troops and organizing them for a fierce resistance against the British. The Ashanti warriors were skilled in battle, and the British forces, though larger, were unprepared for the ferocity of their resistance. In March 1900, British forces laid siege to Kumasi, the Ashanti capital. Ya Asantewa played a critical role in organizing the defense of the city, even though her forces were outnumbered and outgunned. The British were not only fighting against the Ashanti, but also against a deeply ingrained cultural pride that was bound to the land. The Ashanti soldiers fought bravely, with Ya Asantewa leading them from the front lines. Her presence inspired the warriors, and they fought valiantly to protect their sacred golden stool and their land. Despite the bravery and tenacity of the Ashanti warriors, the British were able to breach the walls of Kumasi, and the city fell in April 1900. However, the Ashanti resistance was far from over. Ya Asantewa, refusing to submit, retreated into the bush, where she continued to lead the fight for freedom. Her legacy as a formidable leader in the face of overwhelming odds was already cemented in the hearts of her people. The British had captured Kumasi, but they had not broken the spirit of the Ashanti people, and they could not claim the ultimate victory they had hoped for. The golden stool, hidden and protected by loyal followers, was safe. Ya Asantewa's leadership had for a time preserved the cultural heart of the Ashanti kingdom. Although the British had captured Kumasi, they could not completely defeat the Ashanti resistance. The British forces, struggling with the guerrilla tactics employed by the Ashanti fighters, began to realize the difficulty of fully subjugating the kingdom. Eventually, the British captured Ya Asantewa herself, and in November 1901, she was exiled to the Seychelles Islands, where she would spend the remainder of her life. While in exile, Ya Asantewa's spirit remained unbroken. She continued to inspire her people with her unwavering resolve, and even in the face of colonial oppression, she was a symbol of the struggle for independence. Her legacy lived on, as she had proven that women could lead with strength and bravery just as much as men. She died in 1921 in exile, far from her homeland, but her spirit continued to influence the fight for independence across the African continent. Ya Asantewa's legacy as a leader and symbol of resistance against colonialism lives on. She is regarded as one of the most important figures in African history, particularly in Ghana. Her courage, strategic genius, and unwavering commitment to her people are celebrated throughout the country and beyond. In Ghana, schools, streets, and monuments are named in her honor, ensuring that future generations will remember her bravery and leadership. In many ways, Ya Asantewa embodies the resilience and strength of African women throughout history. Her legacy has been an inspiration to countless women and men who have fought for justice, independence, and the preservation of cultural heritage. Her defiance against colonial powers reminds us of the importance of standing up for what is right, no matter the odds. As the world continues to reckon with the legacy of colonialism and the stories of resistance, the tale of Ya Asantewa serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of leadership, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of those who fight for their freedom. Ya Asantewa's legacy transcends her time as the Queen Mother of the Ashanti Kingdom. Her leadership and refusal to surrender in the face of overwhelming odds have made her a powerful symbol of resistance, not only for Ghana, but for the African continent as a whole. In her determination to protect the Golden Stool, she became the embodiment of the fight for cultural preservation and political autonomy. As Africa witnessed the rise of independence movements throughout the 20th century, Ya Asantewa's story became an important source of inspiration. Her role in resisting British colonial expansion highlighted the deeply ingrained desire for self-determination that was felt across the continent. The colonial period, marked by exploitation, forced labor, and the extraction of resources from African nations, left an indelible scar on the African psyche. However, leaders like Ya Asantewa were the antidote to colonial domination, providing both tangible and symbolic resistance against the might of European powers. In countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, where independence movements were gaining strength in the mid-20th century, Ya Asantewa was seen as a symbol of fearless leadership. Her story was recounted by African nationalists seeking to galvanize their own movements. For women in particular, Ya Asantewa was an iconic figure, proving that women were not only capable of leadership, but could also lead with unparalleled resilience, strategic brilliance, and unwavering commitment. Ya Asantewa's leadership helped to challenge long-standing patriarchal structures in African societies, particularly in the context of resistance movements. Her courage and determination as a woman leading a military resistance against the British were groundbreaking. While women in many African societies had historically held important positions, including as queens, priestesses, and warriors, their roles were often overshadowed by male-dominated political structures. Ya Asantewa's defiance and military leadership shattered this paradigm. Her actions also contributed to the broader feminist movements in Africa and the African diaspora. During the 20th century, as women across the world began to demand equality and recognition in various spheres of life, Ya Asantewa's life story served as a rallying cry. African women who sought greater political, social, and economic freedoms found in her a source of strength and a model of leadership. Her legacy demonstrated that women could and should be in the forefront of struggles for freedom and justice. In modern times, as women in Africa have gained prominence in political offices, international organizations, and grassroots movements, Ya Asantewa's influence is still keenly felt. From political leaders like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former president of Liberia, to grassroots activists, Ya Asantewa's determination and leadership continue to inspire net. At the heart of Ya Asantewa's defiance was the golden stool, a sacred symbol of the Ashanti people. The stool was not only the throne of the Ashanti king, but also the physical manifestation of the Ashanti people's spiritual, cultural, and political unity. Its preservation was not merely a symbolic act, it was a defense of the Ashanti people's identity. The British demand for the stool was an attempt to break the very spirit of the Ashanti people. By seizing this sacred object, the British hoped to demonstrate their control over not only the physical land, but also the cultural and spiritual heritage of the Ashanti. However, the Ashanti people, under the leadership of Ya Asantewa, recognized that to give up the stool would mean to lose everything: religious unity, political power, and the pride that came with being Ashanti. In the years that followed, the golden stool would remain one of the most important cultural symbols of the Ashanti people. Even though it was temporarily hidden from the British, it continued to represent the spirit of resistance. After the British capture of Kumasi, and during Ya Asantewa's exile, the stool was eventually restored to the Ashanti royal family. It remains a revered object to this day, a constant reminder of the Ashanti people's victory over the British in protecting their identity. The golden stool was not just a political symbol, it embodied the idea of cultural sovereignty. This concept, an indigenous people's right to maintain and protect their cultural heritage in the face of external forces, would become an essential part of post-colonial movements throughout Africa. Ya Asantewa's defense of the stool laid the foundation for an understanding of culture as an integral part of a nation's sovereignty, an idea that would be championed by African leaders in the years to come. The independence movement in Ghana, led by Kwame Nkrumah and other political leaders, drew heavily on the legacy of the Ashanti Kingdom and the leadership of figures like Ya Asantewa. The Ashanti resistance to colonialism became a model for later generations of Ghanaians who were determined to break free from British rule. Ghana's independence in 1957 was not just a political victory, it was also a cultural and spiritual triumph for a people who had endured centuries of exploitation and subjugation. Nkrumah, who became Ghana's first president, often invoked the spirit of Ashanti resistance in his speeches. He saw the Ashanti struggle for independence as an inspiration for the entire African continent. In his Pan-African vision, the defiance of Ya Asantewa and the Ashanti people served as a model for the struggles for independence in other African nations. Nkrumah's ideas about unity and self-determination, while informed by modern political movements, were also deeply influenced by the historical struggles of figures like Ya Asantewa. Today, the Ashanti Kingdom continues to play a vital role in the cultural and political landscape of Ghana. The Asantehene, the king of the Ashanti people, remains an important figure in the country's governance, although the monarchy no longer holds political power. The cultural heritage of the Ashanti people, including their language, traditions, and royal ceremonies, remains central to Ghanaian identity. Ya Asantewa's influence also extends beyond the borders of Ghana. Her story has become a global symbol of resistance against colonialism and oppression. Scholars, writers, and activists around the world continue to study her life and draw inspiration from her courage. Her legacy has been celebrated in books, documentaries, and academic research that analyze her role in African history. As the world moves further into the 21st century, Ya Asantewa's story remains relevant not only in the context of African history, but also in the broader narrative of leadership and identity. The world continues to grapple with the legacies of colonialism, globalization, and the struggle for indigenous rights. In these contexts, Ya Asantewa's story provides important lessons about the power of cultural preservation, the strength of community, and the importance of resilient leadership. Her story teaches us about the importance of standing firm in one's beliefs and defending what is sacred. It also reminds us of the profound impact that individual leaders can have in shaping the course of history. Ya Asantewa's courage in the face of colonial forces was a beacon of hope for her people, and her actions continue to inspire those who fight for justice and freedom around the world.